Good evening and welcome back to Nosetools, where I haven't the faintest idea what's going on except we seem to have some magma. Actually, as I recall, that was most of what was going on. We were moving the magma up in gradually more efficient but weirder mechanisms. And the current situation is that there are no minecarts waiting to be loaded, which is kind of embarrassing.
Oh yes, did you manage to solve your zombie honking goose problem?
Yeah, that got solved fairly rapidly. It looks like, is that a zombie kitten or a zombie crundle? Probably not a zombie kitten. No, it's a zombie crundle. So where are all of my steel minecarts then? Okay, there's one of them there full of magma waiting to be emptied. And a wheelbarrow that's apparently tasked for doing fetching another thing. Oh, and that's another minecart being delivered. Excellent. So I think I've dug out more or less enough space here. And I'm mostly just waiting for this all to be filled with magma.
What are you filling with magma today?
This L-shaped reservoir here, so that then I can drain that all fairly rapidly into the rubbish pit.
Okay.
Because the problem is, if you fill the rubbish pit slowly with magma, the magma just evaporates, because that's what magma does in this game.
I was hoping you were keeping it in a small field. Maybe a lava crop.
Thank you.
Ridiculous. A magma isn't a field. No, that's true. A field is a magma.
And I'm currently approving anyone who wants to stay here to entertain people on the grounds that will give me eventually more citizens, albeit that they'll all be legendary poets and bugger all use at anything else.
Well, once they're your citizens, you can compulsorily retrain them.
Yes.
They're mucking out the outfits. Yes, I remember that insulation counting question. What the question was? Prove that no insulation is bounded by this and that. Oh yes. I wonder if it might be easy to think of it in terms of the partition instead of what proof of insulation to our partitions and vice versa. I'm sure you get an exact boundary. Well, I guess it's the partition number, which is therefore disgusting, hideous thing, really disgusting. I wonder if you need to think of the bounds in terms of that.
Right, we apparently have a cat skeleton kicking around, so let's hurl that into the pit. That is not a useful thing. Right. So this is now at still 2 to 3 depth. So that can be filled up a bit more. Meanwhile, things are being delivered here, which is good. What's going on here? Oh dear, there appears to be some confusion. Have I forgotten to lock this door? No, I haven't. Okay. Well, in that case, let's start pumping magma in while people deliver more minecarts. We have this weird thing that minecarts get stuck on top of other minecarts. hope that we, by incinerating some things, can speed up the frame rate a bit. Things are going a bit sluggish now. Right. So now we should have plenty of magma there. You can stop pumping there. Start pumping there. And we can unlock that door. Looks like that cat skeleton did get into a bit of a fight there. Okay, I perhaps shouldn't actually unlock the door to unload this until we've drained the magma from it. Or have we drained the magma while I wasn't paying attention? No, let's lock the door just in case someone feels that it would be sensible to open the door that's holding back an entire tile full of magma. Oh yes, and what's going on with sand collecting? It's apparently waiting. Curious. What is that? Does that mean it's happened once, but that's that drained of magma. Can't remember what I'm doing, so unlock that door. Stop pumping.
So the more machinery you have in the fortress, you seem to be able to directly control pumps and locks and things.
I can directly control whether a door is locked or unlocked unless it's been taken by an enemy. Like if a marauding goblin army has gone through the door, then I can't control it until one of my people goes near it again. Pumps, I can ask for a dwarf to start or stop operating.
Oh, you don't just get a godlike.
Not with pumps, no.
I have a vague idea there that the more machinery and the fewer dwarves you have in your fortress, the more you have direct control over it and not be constantly, oh no, don't go there.
Yeah, may to an extent, but it doesn't always work. So that one's full of magma. Those ones are not full of magma because the whole world's weird. I think someone was about to do something and then got distracted by turning into a Marksdwarf. I suspect this screws up some of my mechanisms horribly if people get distracted halfway through moving things. But, like, we need someone to learn how to use a crossbow. I thought while things were... Yes, while that's currently unlocked. So currently we're just moving bins of crossbow bolts out of there, aren't we? Yes. Ah, but these are full of unhelpful, or in that case, mixed kinds of ammo. Going with what?
Whatever that thing was. Double took the word, two words being the same.
So yes, we do seem to have a slight problem that empty minecarts occasionally end up going around the the storage system, which is kind of unhelpful.
But also mangy Dracula, to be fair.
Yes, I think I mostly want to just stay down here watching this area and keeping it as far as possible under control. And trying not to let things get moved when they shouldn't be moved. On what? Yes, I suppose that is a pool of magma at this point, isn't it? This is all going relatively efficiently. Yes. I mean, we're getting occasional empty minecarts ending up in the full minecart stream. Like there goes one which is going to be hauled all the way back up to the surface, emptied, even though it's empty already, and then brought back down again. Who is? Oh, that's our almost but not quite dead stray war jaguar. One's not full, is it? Oh, it is full. Sorry, Stoats. I'm losing track of where things are. That's a full minecart and wants to be removed from there. Pause while I look around elsewhere and check that, for instance, this isn't actually about to overflow. I didn't pass that much through it. No. Still 2 to 3. Right. Quickly check there's nothing dangerous outside. No. Dum-de-dum. Come on, someone. Move some minecarts around. Thank you. Don't leave a kitten in there. More like a tame large rat either. Look, get those animals out of my magma store. Otherwise, right, thank you. Quickly lock the door before anyone gets in. Right, and start the pump. Though, I mean, there's nothing in there at the moment because we need some people to deliver some empty minecarts back down here. But we have 2 full mine carts waiting to be hauled up, which is nice. And zillions of young animals running around, none of whom are in imminent danger of being cooked, which is good. What are you doing then?
Why is your surname Woman Diamond?
It's a good question, certainly. Right, they're going to fetch an empty minecart from upstairs. Here's someone delivering a full minecart. We'll see. No. Hauling away another empty one. Not hauling away a full... Yes. Oh, I don't know, I've lost my words. Right, so the full minecarts are all being hauled off, and someone has collected at least one wheelbarrow to fetch down an empty minecart. Just check that we still have some spare coffins, despite the phenomenal quantity of dead people on the surface. Come on, someone, bring some empty minecarts down here.
Because lots of things in the word swords, word with apostrophes after. You can get swords, words, and word. They're all different words.
Come on, guys.
They're not.
I mean, I think they are moving things. It's just that they're moving them fairly... It's a long way from the cellars to the... from the magma mines to the place where we actually want the magma. Now 3 to 4 units. Right, I think someone is now bringing down a minecart. I'm slightly worried that this may cause catastrophic death, because I don't know if the minecart is going to go sploosh. Is the when it's put into the
Then there's a
thing.
bottle of pills next to your foot. If you could pass them back here. Thank you.
There was a brief flash of magma mist there, but it didn't look like it was fatal. Excellent. So now stop pumping that. Start pumping that because we have in here 7/7 of magma and a full cart. We have here a spare minecart which we will temporarily forbid.
Quite fun.
Still waiting for someone to come and operate the drain pump because they've decided to go off somewhere else.
Think about grapple. Because I can never remember which of grapple and flackle is a graph and which is a fin. I think the grapple should be a small.
Why do we have a bunch of forbidden crossbow bolts? Where are they? Oh, are they?
Oh, it is a bird. Okay, fine.
Yeah, but that's the higher. Let's gratuitously unforbid some crossbow bolts because I can. I'm sure crossbow bolts are safe. Sure, all crossbow bolts are safe. This will be fine. Unpause. Nothing good is going to happen unless I do. That's a kitten. It won't do any useful work.
Driving a cat.
That, on the other hand, is a pump operator who will do some useful work. Let's check that is indeed appropriately. Was named, yes. Good. Why are you carrying that minecart? No wonder you're thirsty. Hope it's not full of magma. No, good. Oh, interesting. That's the empty one that accidentally got sent round the loop when it shouldn't have been. I wonder why. Curious. Lock that door, start that pump. Check that everything is happening as I think it is. Yes. Stop that pump. Start that pump. Stop that pump. Unlock the door. Unforbid the minecart. Very little. More administration of magma mostly. We'll get there soon. I promise. Lock the door. Start the pump. I mean, I even tried to do something which stood a reasonable chance of setting fire to a dwarf, but they didn't catch fire.
Dwarves not actually made of paraffin.
So, like, I'm going to keep doing it because it's obviously safe now.
I think that's called normalisation of deviance, and is going to
It wasn't a
cause the space
deviance.
shuttle to explode shortly.
I think
Who are you calling a deviant?
I was gonna say, you have to try a lot harder than that to have a dwarf qualify as a deviant. Even being a wear monitor doesn't quite manage it.
Anyway,
So yes, there does tend to be a small puff of magma mist when they do this. Okay, it wasn't a small puff of magma mist that time.
I'm disturbed by this notion of vaporised rock.
So that minecart is now full. That one should be forbidden. We stop the filling pump. Wrong button, wrong button. That's the one. Stop the filling pump. Start the emptying pump. At the moment, I just need enough. Check that that has actually drained. Unlock that door. Stop that pump. Check that's full of magma. Yes. Right, let's see how things are going in our reservoir then. 3, 4, 3, 3, 4. Yeah, not very good yet. Yeah, maybe taming these naked mole dogs was a mistake. I mean, they're fairly easy to kill when they go back to being wild, so it's not a big problem. But yes, most of the jobs I want magma for, I don't need anything like this quantity. It's just this one that needs tons of the stuff if I'm going to actually flood the rubbish pit. The naked mole dog has got itself stuck in a cage now. Ooh, I think I may be learning how things work a bit better now. That's interesting. Anyway, lock, pump. Magma levels still 3 to 4. Go on, someone come down here and pump things. Yes, how are we doing for... Yeah, I don't know where that Forgotten Beast has got to. Oh well. What are you coming down here to do? Are you a pump operator? No. Excellent. Stop pumping there. Start pumping here. Just check that both of those minecarts filled while we were doing that. Yes, and yes. The number of entertainers I've got is going to be a bit silly. Stop pumping there, unlock the door, unforbid the minecarts. Oh, there's willingness to extract it really quite quickly. And then put it in a really awkward square. Right, now it's worth starting the bottom. Oh no, and it's not worth starting the bottom pump again. You're an idiot, Harris. That's a full minecart. Yes. Consistently up to 4 units of magma deep. I think we want to let it out when we reach about 6. So, yes. It's a pity it's not fully automated. Also, what's going on with that collect sand job? Oh, it's currently on checking. And we do have enough sand, apparently. Let's see if I agree with that. Yes, I do. Okay, that's fine then. Repeatedly getting encrusted furniture with green tourmalines not happening. What's going on there? Right. Yes, and indeed there aren't. So why is this job still active? Why do you not go, we haven't got enough green tourmalines, let's stop trying to encrust things with green tourmalines, you weirdos. Right, It says condition not satisfied. Yeah. And again, that's because we don't have any of those gems. So why do you think you can encrust things with them, you strange job scheduling system? Intelligent undead. Quite interesting people, but do have odd names. I have requested that they start that pump, haven't I? Yes. I presume someone has actually taken the job as well, so I just have to wait for them to get down here. Yes. Then maybe if I give more people the job, eventually they'll join in. I mean, there's an argument I should just make everyone a pump operator. Yes, I've set of people in the fortress. It does include an awful lot of like dancers and bards and such like. So we do have plenty of hooves, which we ought to be able, I think, to encrust things with or decorate things with. Indeed, people are doing excellent. I mean, some of these objects are going to end up being pretty ludicrous. Right, someone is operating that pump, and there is now thus a full steel minecart full of magma. Excellent. Stop operating that pump. Start operating that pump. Stop operating that pump. Unlock that door. Make sure that the full minecart is unforbidden. Right. Why are you so thirsty? I mean, you are only thirsty. Maybe it's just taking you a little while to well, if you decide to go drinking now, I'll be happy. Yeah, okay. It's just taking you a little while to get round to actually like drinking anything. That's fine. Four to 5 depth. Things get exciting when when things start getting up to 6. Because then this can start overflowing when someone dumps 2 units of magma on 1 square. So that may be interesting. Oh yes, I was going to do something about our catching wild animals. Taming them doesn't seem to be a particularly helpful activity. So what I want to do is say just take them out into the wilderness and let them go. What I can do is to designate a tiny pit up here, which is a kind of weird thing to do, but then I can say, look, just release that naked mole dog on the surface, it will be fine out there. And that giant mole, I mean, this is obviously a slightly, and why is there a, this is obviously a slightly dangerous thing to do with hostile creatures, like that one. But like with creatures that aren't going to cause serious trouble, we can let them out, not try to tame them, thus they won't be hanging around in the fortress. Oops. And thus maybe we won't end up with quite so many things having to be slaughtered in the middle of the dining room, which is messy. Food situation, ludicrous. Right, probably at the point now where, no, not quite. Hoping that something could be done down here, but that minecart, what is full of magma, is still waiting for someone to come and move it. It's the elves doing all the work here, I notice. Oh, that minecart is forbidden. Right. Isn't actually the elves doing all the work. So now, there's this weird thing that if we want to release things on the surface, we have to designate a pit there, which we have to do on a convenient hillside. So everyone is dragging the creatures that we want released out onto a convenient hillside. But then they will be wild and free on the surface, where they're mostly cave creatures. Oh well. Now we have a short delay while while everything saves, and I snooze now. Of course, this means we're discovering more things on the surface that need burying. So I explained roughly what was going on. Excuse me, I'm suffering a keyboard focus problem. Roughly what was going on with the magma before. So the plan for this batch of magma is mostly that we use it to clear out the rubbish pit so we can make it work better. And build a better one. Which needs an awful lot of magma. And then once we've done that, then I have three other uses for magma near the surface. Though I do also have an idea for a way that we might be able to make a... So I think what I really want to do actually is to split where we put rubbish and where we put zombies for target practice. Because combining these two jobs is not entirely helpful. What's going on here? I've lost track again. That is full. And we're just waiting for someone to operate this pump, aren't they? So yes, because at the moment we hurl unwanted stuff into the pit with the zombies, which is kind of all right, except that we don't really want the unwanted stuff to stay in existence. So perhaps we should have a second pit where we throw things that we don't want to keep, and we can then put a small hint of magma at the bottom of that to set fire to everything we throw in there. But that only needs a small hint of magma. So that should now be a full minecart. Our magma moving system is reasonably efficient now, given the number of minecarts we have. Getting more so as the minecarts end up synchronised. Where is a giant mole corpse attacking a duck? Oh dear, S-A-K. We don't want a giant mole corpse kicking around in the fortress, that's just going to be troublesome. How did it get in? Where did it come from?
Hardly fair. The giant mole corpse is fighting a duck and a goose.
Yes, it's true.
Together might come closer to giving it a fair fight.
Not really.
In the same sense that the sequence 1 over n gets closer and closer to -5. If I go through that, they say closer and closer, I think that my example there, how I get to really close to 1, that sounds good too. Okay, 1, 10, 5, 10, 10, 4, it's pretty close to 0.
So we at least now have someone who's got an actual weapon and is using it. Though, admittedly, a spear is not the best of things to fight a zombie with. Still, people want to reside here despite the undead creature in the hallway.
Have a head rush. The thing is out here. Where is her thing?
So I think the naked Moldog corpse just eventually got pushed into a cage trap. Yeah, true. There's a reason why my fortress is littered with cage traps. Unfortunately, now it's also littered with teeth. Not usually, they're too small for that. Oh, actually, there are dwarf's teeth, so they'll probably get put in his or her grave anyway. Let's leave those for a bit. And just see whether there's anything left there after people have tidied up a bit. Cage trap's just gone off down there. Right. I think that the duck in question may possibly have come back to life and got immediately cage trapped, because there's a reason why all of my places where we keep dead creatures have cage traps littered around them. Meanwhile, what's going on down here? Someone is hauling out what I hope is a full minecart. Yes. Which means that now we can start that pump and lock that door. And there is one minecart in there, and annoyingly 2 above. So I still don't know what the rules are that control how minecarts placed in how minecarts falling on top of other minecarts work, because sometimes we seem to be able to get 2 into that square at the same time, and sometimes we don't, and I don't really understand why. Meanwhile, since you're here and thus not a very busy elf, do you already have pump operating enabled? And if not, I'll enable it even though it's too late. Oops. And possibly, as I said, I should enable it on everyone. Oh, have we finally smelted all the galena? Yes, we have. That probably means we have a stupid amount of lead and such like, doesn't it? Yes, we have 137 silver bars and 309 lead bars. Right, someone come and operate the pump. Meanwhile, let's see how the clearing away dead things is going. Hello.
Pump.
Yes.
Pump.
Okay, it appears that a tower cap oaken is a fearsome weapon in the hands of a bard.
What is a tower cap oaken?
Hang on. So small handheld wooden wind instrument consisting of a central wind chest and 13 cylindrical stone pipes with flared bells fitted with 3 reeds. The musician selects the pitch by stopping holes. The wind instrument has a nearly 4-octave range. So there you go. It's a kind of wood, essentially. It's a very large fungus that grows underground, whose material is usable as though it were wood.
It seems like an instrument that's kind of a cross between a bagpipe for the many sticking out pipes and an ocarina for the solid body.
Yes, something like that.
And it's been used to beat a zombie goose.
And it's apparently usable for clobbering zombie geese, yes. I think it's some kind of large ocarinaroid, yes, but it has reeds, so that makes it more bagpipe-ish.
Yeah, it's a cross between a bagpipe and an ocarina.
It's not quite clear where the
Bludgeoning value.
where the air comes from. It doesn't. The documentation doesn't explain that, but yes, it is apparently good for killing zombie geese. I mean, like, it's not quite as silly as this. There's an artifact grating that we've got down here. Oh no, that's only successfully been used to kill one giant olm. So yes, I suppose. And I did have one sock I think, that got wielded by a Minotaur in one of my fortresses, and that ended up with a kill list of like six creatures that have been killed using this sock. There's
Without a half brick traditionally.
no, just a sock. This now appears on the Dwarf Fortress wiki page about socks.
Because I have toxic socks in them.
I don't know. But yes, I took a screenshot of that because it was so good. Right. What's our current minecart situation? Our current minecart situation is that one is empty and we're still waiting for a pump operator to turn up. Yes. But my habit here is to tell anyone who turns up, please operate pumps. Right. Now they're operating the pump. Now I can tell them to stop operating that pump and start operating that pump. And now I can tell them to stop operating that pump, and I can unlock the door. And then just check that things are how I think they are, which is that and that, yes. Someone is trying to bury the goose again. And we have a cage with an undead duck in it. Well, those are not going to get butchered, are they? They should be hurled down into the pit before anything exciting happens. Cat might theoretically, but it's only a skeleton. I should make a small stockpile for those silver maces so that they don't take up that precious space in my dead things stockpile. Here, fill the staircase with silver maces, please. Thank you. Let's just check we're not in any danger of overflowing things with magma. No. All at level 5 now though, so it will get slightly more interesting soon. I might actually want to watch what happens when people dump magma in there. Right, that's a full minecart removed from the filling area, so we forbid that door and start the pump. And make sure that you have... Yes, you do have pump operating enabled, and you have indeed decided to come and operate the pump. Excellent. Thank you. Right, you have now filled mine carts, so stop operating that pump, stop operating that pump. Stop operating that pump. Unlock the door. Allow people to move the mine carts. Apparently another one has turned up. That one wants forbidding. Now we're going to put that in an unhelpful square. I should perhaps reduce the size of this stockpile a bit, simply so that people don't put things in such stupid places in it. Right. The remaining minecart there is then empty, so we now lock the door and start the lower pump. This elf is doing particularly well today. Then we stop the lower pump and start the upper pump. Not pissing off, now he's gone, and doing something else, but actually repeatedly hanging around down here and doing the next job that needs doing. So, like, we've got 3 minecarts full of magma that one elf has filled up, and like this requires a sequence of about 4 operations per minecart. Well, actually, we did 2 of them simultaneously, so it wasn't quite that bad, but. We assume if a nose of a named person is in our stockpile. Okay, there are too many maces for the size of that. The bloody goose may have come back to life. What? I think, though, that seems to be in the wrong place to be the goose. Maybe it was a dwarf. Hang on. Okay, but that's been dealt with by someone hacking off its head. That doesn't actually appear to be a whole corpse, that appears to be a hand. You can deal with a hand, go on. Alright, someone came along to operate that pump. Excellent, thank you. Stop operating that pump. Unlock that door. Unforbid that minecart, which is now full of magma. See, the dwarves just clear off as soon as they've done their one job. So the magma is now at 5 to 6 sevenths, which means that the next time someone puts magma in here, it will overflow onto this square. I think that will be safe. But I think that probably means we're pretty close to being full of magma now. And I should stop providing extra magma. Especially since people keep walking on the square where, well, mostly animals keep walking on the square where the magma goes. Good, that magma got nicely poured in there and it didn't cause an overflow. And we've now got several squares at 6 sevenths of magma and several squares at 5 sevenths. Right. Oh dear. That's not nice. I mean, I accept we'll have occasional pets going missing. Occasional entire miners going missing is a little more worrying. That's probably a tooth, we don't want it. so that's some more minecarts being delivered. Come on, someone empty that minecart. Thank you. And the giant rat corpse got fairly rapidly caged because we're quite efficient at putting things in cages here. Right, so I think we're more or less at the point where we can start thinking about draining that magma into the pit, which will be exciting. Maybe. Yes, parts can.
Nothing but a neck.
Just a neck. So let's make sure no one accidentally wanders into that room while we're filling it with magma. Also, let's get ourselves a space.
I mean, I see that a disembodied undead giraffe neck might manage to convincingly interrupt someone, but
So I think we should hurl that duck.
the only way a human or dwarf-sized neck is going to interrupt anyone is if they're too busy going, what is that? Yeah, that's the word I was going for. I realised halfway through the mind slaughter, I was going for what you're using.
So I think I've now asked for that duck corpse to be hurled into the pit, because I would quite like to get that square empty.
Can this pit fill up?
No. Oh dear. Oh dear. The duck corpse is refusing to go in the pit. I suppose I should perhaps have thought that maybe just trying to hurl a duck into a pit wasn't going to work for the obvious bloody reason that ducks have wings. You can't just throw a duck down a pit and expect it to stay down there.
Hey, get enough water Otamlòr by throwing it down a pit and then off a mountain.
I refuse to get involved in that discussion. Right, the duck's been dealt with again. Someone come and get that empty cage, and then we'll dig that trench once there isn't a valuable cage in the way.
The left wing, not a right wing, and they kept flying around in circles all the time. The upvote stands up. The upvote stands up.
Yes, because standing up is an interesting thing to do when you're in combat, though not generally otherwise. Right, someone is now lugging that away. So now, let us designate that square for channeling. Do I need to? I think I may need to designate it not a stockpile first. Oh no, then I need to remove the floor.
These rooms you have here, every single little square has something in it, and they don't have empty floor space anywhere.
A lot of the commas and apostrophes and such like are essentially stuff growing on the floor.
Okay.
So moss and stuff.
I think dwarves have trouble leaving the floor bare for very long without decorating it with some panel of carved art or...
So the pluses, for instance, are just paved floor. And thus are fairly uninteresting. Someone's brought up another minecart. I hope we've got space for that magma. 6, 6, 6, 6, 5. Yeah, that's no problem. Feel free to add the magma to the thing. Right. Someone come along and dismantle that floor, please. No, not you. You're a Dralther. Thank you. Oh dear, that's a rather unhappy cloud of smoke. I wonder what just caught fire. Actually, the way to check whether anyone important is on... Oh dear, someone is on fire. Please don't be on fire. Please don't set fire to everyone else. Alright, yes, we have an actual magma overflow here. In that these two squares have magma on. That square also has a fire on it. Thank you, Justin. Yes, 0 days since... To be fair, this is our first magma accident.
What happened if someone gets
So, yes, I don't know quite how, but the attempt at pouring the last batch of magma in down the floor grate here, it seems to have overflowed slightly, and we have some magma here and here. This has caused an unfortunate incident with this tunic being on fire here, this Kenaf sock being on fire here, a sock being on fire here, and perhaps most importantly, a person who is on fire. Oh, but that to be fair is the least of their problems.
What else is wrong?
They're currently what? Yes, they are currently falling into the pit full of zombies.
While on fire?
Yes.
That's
So
quite good. It might kill some of the zombies.
yeah, but if you're the dwarf who is on fire, as I say, being on fire is the least of their problems.
Might this help get rid of some of the zombies?
It might do, but I'm planning to pour magma on the zombies.
Okay.
The only possible question, yes, and the floor hatch is open, so they are just going to plummet onto the zombies. Sprinkler system? What's that? No, we don't have a sprinkler system. I did occasionally think we should have something like that, but that's a hassle. Plus, I mean, what I thought was we should have ponds full of water anywhere where we're seriously dealing with magma, in order to deal with this sort of thing, but that would require setting up ponds full of water. Plus, it wouldn't help the mechanic here because they're falling into the pit full of zombies. So yes. He's terrified. He's annoyed after choking on smoke underground. He hasn't yet noticed that he's on fire, but he is bleeding from everywhere. I think if we wanted a sprinkler system, we'd just get it from the river.
I am in awe of the fact that the description page made clear in every part of the body that was bleeding that it was bleeding that person's blood, not for some reason any other.
Well, it would be terribly unfortunate if it was somebody else's blood. Right, well, okay. I hope there isn't any more magma on its way up here. That's actually fine. The track stop will melt soon. I think.
Is the magma where there's red bits of wall on?
No, that's a fire.
Okay, fine.
Right, I'm going to temporarily lock... actually, I'm going to... Yes, we're paused, aren't we? I'm going to check whether there's anyone alive in here. Because that's an animation showing me what's in the square.
Oh, I see. Ah, right. It's not.
That's not anything changing. That's just this square contains this furniture and these people.
Okay.
So I'm just going to quickly check that there's no one alive in here, or at least no one alive in here whom I care about. Like those dwarves in cages are all undead. Oh, well, I'm impressed. The burning mechanic has hauled themselves out of the pit. They didn't fall. They managed to grab the sides of the pit and haul themselves back out again, it looks like. But they do have the slight problem of still being on fire, yes. That now is the worst of their problems. So I'm not currently going to stop them escaping from the room, because that seems rude. Though I am going to watch quite carefully where they go, because they are likely to cause fires in the fungus and moss that covers the floor. Just wondering, is there a sensible way I can get them wet quickly? Not really. I think the best hope they have is of getting to... Oh, gods. Yeah, we really don't have a sprinkler system, do we? They don't... There's no water anywhere nearby. I think they're going to die of being on fire fairly shortly. Yeah, they're running out of blood.
I don't know. I've no idea what that first one. It's the green ring.
I'm afraid I don't think we've taught dwarves to stop, drop and roll. Okay, I think my poor burning dwarf. Yes, it was Zlafik Odd Kubok who was previously our on fire dwarf. I think. I'll just check that there's no one on fire who's still alive. Right. What I'm going to do now is lock the doors and wait for the fire to subside, because what my fortress really can do is compartmentation. Right. Yes, we are. We are going to have to hurl their undead burnt corpse into the pit. But we have locked all the doors to that room, and we're just going to let the fire burn itself out. The doors are made of limestone. They should be safe. Also, I mean, in a bit of rather silly dwarf fortressry, they're doors. They're indestructible as long as they're closed, I think. But yes, the doors will not catch fire. So there's a slight item inaccessible, magma everywhere, general disaster problem going on here. But presumably, I mean, oh, and those cages might melt. That might be fun. Yeah, I mean, there are many flaws in my fortress, but the fact that it doesn't have the ability to extinguish fires, but we can at least contain them. Meanwhile, if we've got enough magma here, which we have, we could start working on putting some magma somewhere else.
You don't have magma in enough places already.
Well, I mean, to be fair, we know we have enough. We have more magma than we need in this room. Sadly. So I can tell that thing not to take any more minecarts and not to have any wheelbarrows assigned, and then set this one up to take from there, and check the wheelbarrow stock situation, and check that we have an unassigned steel wheelbarrow at the moment. Which we don't. Possibly because they're still assigned to the wrong thing. So let's not... Actually, no, in that case, remove that stockpile link, or someone's going to pull a minecart up here by hand. See how the fire's going. Okay, the fire appears to have burned itself out. The slight problem is that has melted. Oh no, I think that was our. I can't remember now. The person who Anyway, that does now mean that we have an undead dwarf loose in that room. So what we should do is to let them out in a direction where we have cage traps. Which I think the best one is that one. And they will go brains. I mean, ideally they'll go brains and walk into a pile of magma, but going brains and walking into a cage trap is an acceptable alternative. Right, now what's going on with the minecarts then? Right, so there are wheelbarrows. There are now some unforbidden steel wheelbarrows. Let's quickly forbid any unassigned wooden wheelbarrows. And then say this can have one wheelbarrow and should take from that stockpile. There is currently one minecart in there that shouldn't be there, so there will be a bit of faffage. I think dwarves are sensible enough not to deliberately step in a puddle of magma on the floor. Though, like, if they get pushed onto it, it might still be dangerous. Or if they run away from somewhere onto it. Do the usual thing of occasionally checking whether there's anything around here I don't like. No. Oh yes, we had a problem that it turned out I had far more silver maces than I thought, didn't we? We probably need to make some bins. We've got access to wood at the moment, so... Oops, that wasn't what I meant at all. Right. So let's make some wooden bins to put those maces in. Silver is not a silly thing to make a mace out of. It's the heaviest metal you can use to make weapons from. It's thus a pretty damn good material to make maces out of. Right, now, if we're feeling brave, we can channel away that hole, which will pour the magma down into the pit full of zombies. If any miner is willing to come into this room. And like, if we're lucky, we won't drop anyone into the magma in the process. Maybe not even drop anyone's pet into the magma in the process.
Charlie Squid is menacing them with his dusty tentacles.
Thank you. Where's a miner when you need one? I mean, someone's assigned to this mining job. I kind of want to work... Actually, I should see who it is, shouldn't I? Jobs. Dig channel. View unit. I want to do... go to unit. Right. Okay, it's an incoming bard. Who is also a miner. Right. So, here's where things get exciting. Oh, there's all this... I can't see what's going on down there. It's full of miasma. Right, so now we have cut this gap away, which means that all this magma can now pour down through the limestone floor hatch and onto the floor. We hope.
You've also got a criminal necromancer visiting again.
Yeah. So now we have a mixture of smoke and miasma. But this is at least setting fire to all the stuff in the down in the pit, and as we can see, there is a layer of magma over most of the floor.
We've got a shiny thing and a whiffly bat.
Right, thank you, Eek and Amble.
Amble gently brushing the laptop may not have been heard quite so clearly, but he was brushing it very gently.
There are a few squares that aren't yet covered in magma, which is slightly unfortunate. But like, I think this has actually killed everything that was down there, which is nice. And is after all what I was aiming for. We obviously need to wait. Yeah, there's still quite a lot of magma to drain in there though. And meanwhile, we can't see what's going on because everything is full of smoke and miasma. And slightly surprisingly, the floor hatch has so far not melted. Right, the magma is now leaking out of the pit through the various doors and is setting fire to things in nearby rooms, but that's fine. I've carefully made sure no one can get into those rooms.
I would go to the honourable trousers, the ones where you can't tell the left leg from the right leg. That's true.
Right. Every square on that floor is full of it has some magma in it. Nothing is surviving. Nothing is surviving down there. Well, okay, that one's not dead. That naked bulldog corpse is not dead yet, which I'm impressed by. But is on fire, so that's probably for the best. So that it'll probably be reasonably dead reasonably soon. So, right, that's... We hope, if everything works properly, that should destroy pretty much everything that's in that pit. Once that's done, then we can start constructing the new one. Meanwhile, of course, we want to deliver some magma to the place where I want to set up a magma kiln. So let's work out what's going on there then. That wants a vehicle assigned to it. We appear to actually have a bit of a shortage of... Oh, I think my bronze minecart probably melted, didn't it? Yes. Okay, we're going to need some more minecarts. Oh, wait, make another lead minecart, would you? I mean, we could make it out of silver, but lead's cheaper. That's an unhelpful steel minecart, isn't it? Yes. No, it was brass we were making an armour stand out of, and we made one. See? One brass armour stand. Right, so all of the magma that's going to drain down the pit has drained down it. The limestone floor hatch has still not melted. Of course it doesn't have any armour on it. Do you think people use armour stands for storing armour? I'm slightly surprised there are still some bits down there that are like not destroyed yet.
Corrective monetarism. Sorry, who's corrective monetarism? Brent Brothers.
Maybe we should start pouring water down here and obsidianising the lot. Yes, I mean, obsidianising it would raise the floor level, but I can always mine the obsidian out afterwards. I mean, mostly I'm worried about the fact that we don't actually have an entire skeleton lying around anywhere, do we? We only have some mangled partial skeletons. Yeah, let's be optimistic and assume that this will be fine once the magma dries up, which will take a little while. Like the magma we accidentally used to melt a minecart is still kicking around. I suppose obsidianising it does... Oh, sod it. Right. If dwarves feel like it, they can bring buckets of water and tip them down the pit now. We'll see if that helps. Because, frankly, it's not going to make things any worse. And not in a, this can't possibly get any worse anyway sort of way. Right, so, yes, someone is making me a new minecart, aren't they? Yes. That's how we're dealing with that. Oh dear. We have a quantity of miasma kicking around here. So a thing that's rotting that shouldn't be. Yes. Ral Sarek. Let's just assume that Ral Sarek's body parts are not required. Two names sounds like someone's pet that might actually get buried if we give it half a chance. Right, here comes someone with a bucket. And so now we have a big cloud of steam. And a rough-hewn obsidian wall in the middle of our pit. Which is fine. We'll remove that later. The rule now is we try not to put anything in here that might come to life. We can remove the obsidian with our copper and steel picks slowly. I mean, essentially the water here is just as an alternative to... there's another way of getting rid of the magma. Right, meanwhile, yes, how are we doing for... Oh dear, there's something rotting there as well. That's a bad place for things to rot. Right, so, yes, about that minecart, how's it coming along? Looks like someone's made it. So that should now mean that we can assign our new lead minecart to that, which should then allow us to empty magma into that. Then we can thus go, how on earth has that ended up in that state? That's a bit confusing. Oh right, yes, no one's willing to pick up those two minecarts because they're still sitting in a puddle of magma. You need to wait for the magma to evaporate before you can get those minecarts back. I wonder where the others have got to. Oh well, wherever they are, they should get delivered down here eventually. Oh, is that a minecart actually full of magma? No, that's an empty minecart which has somehow ended up in the wrong place. Oh, very curious. I'm slightly curious as to where all our steel minecarts have got to. Don't ask me how magma evaporates. I think it's mostly a useful gameplay mechanism. Rather than like... I mean, I suspect it may be that a thin layer of magma solidifies and then the dwarves are just assumed to chip it off whatever it was causing, whatever it got stuck to. But I'm not sure. And we're still waiting for that last bit of magma to evaporate. Something else is rotting down there. See, it's simpler when they don't rot and we can they just unrotted dead creatures just end up caged and we can deal with them later. But I think the undead may rot and produce miasma eventually. Right, more steam, more obsidian. If we start flooding this place, then I'll stop telling people to pour water into it. Actually, it's yes, it's probably safe to unlock these doors again now. And amusingly, it is of course now safe, if not wholly wise, to unlock this door and reclaim this room. Which I think we will do by building a wall across here again, except there's there's a load of archery targets there, are there? Yes. Which we will do by dismantling all of these archery targets. And we can retrieve that room that we lost ages ago. I think something just spontaneously burst into flames. I mean, there's a lot of magma around, so I'm not entirely surprised. So we have a kind of mixture of smoke and steam down there at the moment. That magma refuses to go away, which is limiting our ability to get more magma because okay, well, where are each of my steel minecarts? Hey? Tools, minecarts. We should have 4 steel minecarts. One of them. What? Oh, right. Are those... Is there something stupid like I haven't finished setting up that hauling route? Or, oh right, that it hasn't yet had its minecart delivered. Right. Oh, gods, because the lead minecart... Excuse me. Because the lead minecarts are still being taken down here. Because I didn't actually turn off lead? No, I did turn off lead. Oh no, because it's that one that I haven't turned off lead on, and so it's being hauled all the way down into the basement, which is not helpful. Let's work out where it is then, and forbid it briefly to get it to stop that job. States. That would explain why nothing good is happening. I mean, admittedly, it's almost made it down there anyway, but... Oh no, that's follow, not forbid. Stoats, inventory, minecart, inspect the minecart, forbid the minecart, reclaim the minecart. Should, all being well, cause it to lose its current job, and then they'll go, oh yes, I'm meant to be taking it back upstairs, aren't I? Right, there will now be a long delay while that minecart gets dragged all the way back upstairs again. Oh, well, let's look at what's going on here. Also, I was thinking about having a separate disposal system for inanimate rubbish. Because for that, we really just want... a pit full of magma that we can hurl it into. I mean, that will do the job for most inanimate rubbish. But whereby inanimate, I mean not currently animate, not necessarily incapable of being animated. So where would it go then? I mean, we probably want it somewhere up here because most of our rubbish is organic. We need it to be several Z levels deep so that we don't have embarrassing incidents with magma mist. We want it to be quite close to the... We would quite like not to have to punch it through a bunch of other rooms. And we'd like it to be quite close to places that generate dead bodies. So I feel We might want to remove that tanner's shop and dig ourselves a reasonably tall vertical pit there, because that has the great advantage that there is nothing else. I mean, as long as we don't actually penetrate all the way down into the barracks, that there's nothing else below there. Whereas the rooms below everywhere else. Right, okay, that seems like a plan. We need somewhere new to put our tanner's shop as a result. So let's dig out somewhere to put a tanner's shop here. And consider installing that. Right, so the magma is now mostly evaporated, and there is of course nothing alive down there. So let us try to make this a more effective... What bloody hell's that? Oh, some withered plump helmets apparently. A more effective place to hurl creatures without them like staying alive and being able to climb out again. So I think what we want to do in order to accomplish that is to move that floor hatch down one level, which means that the floor hatch wants to be on this floor. So I think that means that we want to cut ourselves an entrance here, which we will then build scaffolding out from to build a wall and and eventually a floor hatch on this said level. So let's set that going. Well, I mean, the scaffolding is more just going to be floors built in wherever is convenient, but... Oh dear, there's another rotting object up here. If no one's going to do anything else with it, it goes down the pit. Right, so now we can build a new tannery in there. Obviously add doors as required. So one slight awkwardness is we're going to have a lot of build this bit of floor and then build a wall next to it and then demolish this bit of floor again, because of the rules about how things must be adjacent to other things. Now that's a wall, that's not right. I want to build a floor first. actually have a shortage of limestone blocks finally. That's nice. That's why no one's dismantling the stuff in there, because that door is still forbidden. Still got some magma in there, so I think we'll carry on pouring water in until it is all properly damped down. You seem to have a slight problem of food being discarded, which is a bit worrying. I mean, like, we have an excess of food, so I'm not very worried, but... Dwarves are actually doing archery practice with the archery targets, because there isn't anything else to shoot down there at the moment. Right, now we can put a wall across the end of this room. While we're here, let's get those gems out. Yes, I'm sure practicing your archery right next to a small pool of magma is not at all terrifying. I think these may have assigned those blocks in a surprising order. Oh well. Wait and see if all the squares end up suspended, and if they do, then find a better way to organise that. Right, so the floors are being put in place. We're running out of limestone blocks. We should make some more blocks. I don't want to... I mean, dolomite's fine there. We do have a general everything is rotting everywhere problem at the moment. Anyway, yes. I can find the rotting thing, I'll get it disposed of. I mean, admittedly, by throwing it into a room that lots of people are working in, so... No, can't find it. Yes, well, I'm making a new pit of doom for throwing things that might rot into, but it takes a little bit of organising. Right, we've got a new tanner's shop, so that means we can remove the old tanner's shop. I mean, not that we really had to have high availability tanning, but maybe there's rotting things in the butcher's shop, actually. That's often a good place for things to rot. There's lots of stuff we don't want. Yes, it's even being... looks like it may be being automatically dumped anyway. Oh yes, we do have 600 units of meat kicking around. It's true. Right, so... meanwhile, how deep does that need to be? I think we need 2 empty Z levels, followed by the Z level that contains lava. So the lava will be probably on this Z level, which is, interestingly, the Z level on which most of the rest of our lava is. So we should actually dig out, let's follow the standard approach that we dig out standard size rooms and then modify them later as necessary. So we now have some floor there, so I can build, if we've got any blocks made of low value wood, stone, we can we've got an odd lot of blocks. I presume these came with some now long dead trade caravan. I don't think kimberlite's very interesting, is it? I'll look it up just in case. Kimberlite is fairly boring stone, except it's where you can find diamonds, and it's the only dark blue stone in the game. Well, it feels like we might have a use for a dark blue stone, so let's not build things out of our precious kimberlite blocks, in case we have a reason to do things in dark blue. Quartzite, on the other hand, is almost certainly boring. Right. Right, so now we should be able to configure that hauling route. That stop is currently unconfigured, so I want to remove those conditions, add a stockpile link, select the stockpile link like that. Oh, that's what I meant, yes. And set the desired items as usual to iron and steel mine carts. Then worry briefly about whether any of those mine carts is already full of magma. No. 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 Wonder how they got there when they're not full of magma. But, like, I don't really mind. That will then cause them to get emptied and shuffled back down here and... Oh, is that door unlocked? That's the problem. And put into the store of minecarts waiting to be filled. Meanwhile, over here, we can start making a standard magma pit. Actually, there may be a slight problem that people keep getting rubbish dumped on their heads while they're trying to set up the new rubbish dump. Has all the magma gone yet? Yes. Oh, not quite. But that's in a wall. So I think we can stop pouring water in here now. Which will avoid at least avoid the people doing the building work getting water poured on their heads at the very least. What are you doing? Alright, you're cleaning some of the blood off. That never goes well. Right. Do you have any blocks of ordinary kinds of wood yet? Phyllite qualifies as ordinary. Certainly should be a decent quantity of blocks there. There should be a reasonable number of limestone and granite blocks available, right? Should be. Are they being weird? Oh, there are the limestone blocks, right, yes. So we are constructing here a wall around the around where this floor hatch will eventually go. So we're also going to want to actually have something that activates this floor hatch, and I'm going, as a kind of matter of principle, to move the pressure plates that operate it inside the rubbish dump room rather than having them. What? Oh, yes, the deconstructing that tanner's workshop has led to an explosion of leather because we have far too much leather, and it was all stored in the tanner's workshop. Also, water is seeping into there, but I don't think that's a serious problem. Right, how is the walling off of... Yes, okay. That's someone's bedroom that things are rotting in. Is it actually anyone's bedroom, or is it unoccupied? No, it's actually someone's bedroom and they've left something rotting there. Really? Stop leaving food in your bedroom. I'm going to dispose of that preemptively. I mean, admittedly, that will again... So what's going on here? Oh right, we have a bunch of forbidden blocks, do we? Because I didn't want those being assigned for building anything from. Okay. How the hell did you get down there? Like, that's not meant to be a place you can get to. I mean, I intend it to be a place you can get to, and I'm now going to make it a place you can get to so you can get out. But I still want to know how you got in there. Right, so now we've got the side walls of the place where the hatch is going to be, so we can now start carefully removing the floor and installing the end walls. Install a wall in there. Meanwhile, those have all gone back up here. Excellent. Or at least will be on their way here. Currently the filling area has nothing in it because faff. That's fine. We still have a dwarf stranded on there. So I think if I ask to carve an up ramp there, will that solve the problem? And I let them climb down however the hell they got in there. I've got 2 bits of wall built there. And I think now I should, unsuspending the rest should actually work. Yes, well, not so much service ducts. This is the area of lots of magma pools, which all have to be lined because this is also the layer that has the aquifer in it. I mean, it's a fairly gentle aquifer, but it leaks water into everything, and so it would leak water into our magma pools, which would kind of stop them working. So all pits have to be properly lined. I may be a bit short of actually people dedicated to mining. Meanwhile, we want to actually get the ability to drop things down here. So let's dig a vertical shaft. Actually, let's maybe be a bit more careful about that. Actually make that vertical shaft, no, that's the wrong column, accessible from here before we dig the next layer down. I think I may have a shortage of people. We've got someone there who's like a miner, mining as a labourer. Why are you not mining anything? Got lots of things that want mining. I appreciate we also have lots of things to put in tombs. I can't really deny that. Now a lot of installing walls and gradually adding and removing objects in the right order and going, where are my miners at the moment? I mean, really. 2 of them are placing items in tombs and 1 of them is listening to music. Okay, here's someone who is not mostly a miner, but... Right, so now we have a spare room down here that has ceased being the old Mark's Dwarf training room. I could take some of our unnecessary quantity of poets and turn them into miners, since there doesn't seem to be enough mining going on at the moment. Let's pick a miner who is a dancer who is not doing anything. Oh right, they're sufficient. They're not actually citizens, are they not? Right. Yeah. Learn how to mine. I'm sure you'll be fine at it. So anyway, I was going to sort out the pressure plates, wasn't I? Yes. What I was going to do with the pressure plates was to put the pressure plate there, triggered by citizens of dwarf weight, which that is fine for. And since lots of people will be likely to walk through here, let's make it an artifact pressure plate. And we should put one of these at every entrance. With the same settings. Eek is skooking, presumably on the basis of being a cardinal. And we should remove that cage trap so that we can put a pressure plate there. Why can I not remove that cage trap? X, thank you. Right. So someone come and do some damned mining. So I'm going to install both of those walls just to minimise the amount of water that gets in while we're waiting for a miner to come and do their job. Aha! Someone's finally going to come and do this bit of mining for me. Excellent. Right, while we're here, let's try to get some more. I'm having one of my where the hell have all of my minecarts gone moments, aren't I? Really, where the hell have all my minecarts gone? Anything with the word mine in it is currently vanishing. Miners, minecarts, Minotaurs. I don't think we've seen any Minotaurs yet. Right. Tools. Find damn magma safe minecarts. There isn't. Oh. Oh, is there a track? Is the track stop there incorrectly configured? Hang on. Is everything down here incorrectly configured? Because this is set up for a previous version. Oh, stoats. Because this is set up for a previous version of the filling system before I automated it. Yes. Right. That would explain things. Yes, it's I think it's just collecting minecarts. And we've lost our miners again. What I will do, I think, in that respect, in this case, is actually to just dismantle that one and build one for our new inanimate rubbish disposal system. Right, so that now has some open space, so now we can install a new. We have no spare floor hatches, right? Let's gratuitously make them magma safe. Admittedly, someone's thus going to have to go and find the sand, but still confused by the difficulties people are having with actually getting any mining done. And why there seems to be someone perpetually wandering around with that corpse. I keep seeing someone walking around with. Oh, it's one of those. It's a pet corpse, which is somehow not quite eligible for being buried, isn't it? Yeah, I remember that. It's like when someone's pet comes back to life as a zombie and then gets killed again. Under half the circumstances, people decide that the corpse belongs in a tomb, but then they take it to the tomb and then decide it probably doesn't really belong there because it came back to life, and surely that means it's not eligible to be properly buried. And so they keep going back and forth with this pet corpse, not being quite sure what to do with it. I think I should just have a quick look around. Oh no, that's probably okay. I think there's thus a slight danger that people are going to repeatedly try to bury the same pet again and again and again. And that's going to be why nothing happens for a while. I mean, I say I want to fill this thing with magma, but I can't fill it with magma until the miners have turned up. And the miners, I think, keep thinking, oh, right, now they have no job, right, come on. And now you're placing an item in a tomb again. Because we apparently have so many items that need placing in tombs. I'm a little worried that some of those are loops. Let's look them up then. I mean, because these are items... Yeah, let's ask for those... Well, actually, let's not ask... Yes, let's ask for those to be dumped. I mean, that will slightly annoy anyone who's there. Right, at least we managed to get that out. So now we should probably remove that weird... lump of obsidian down there as well. So we've probably got a hatch cover now, yes. We're going to need some more mechanisms, so let's make some more mechanisms because I think they're running out. Given how slow this is being, I'm actually going to reconstruct a working minecart dumping system here. So we want to make that able to take minecarts in steel and iron. We want to build track stop here that dumps to the south. We want to build a track stop here that dumps to the east. We want to set that to have one wheelbarrow and take from a magma store I want to check that it got the right material of wheelbarrow. It's furniture stock file 43. Because we keep doing this. Which has been assigned to steel wheelbarrow. Excellent. Right. While we're waiting for the miners to turn up and finish this area. And they're being very unhelpful about. Right. The floor hatch is now installed. But we're still waiting for anyone to actually come and do the necessary mechanics. Possibly because we set fire to our own new mechanic. That might explain why no one's coming to do the mechanics, mightn't it? Right, find a poet. Find a poet who's a citizen. Find the first poet who doesn't appear to be doing anything. Hello, you're an engineer now. And a pump operator just because. What the hell is our glass maker doing down here? I assume that's someone going to make glass.
It's not implausible for a glass maker doing it.
Well, that's a very shiny floor hatch, isn't it? Yeah, we've got plenty of beer, though. The fact that we can't actually store any more is not a problem, because we've got far too much of it. Right. So we can't yet wall off that floor hatch, because it's... it needs to be connected up to the new mechanisms. Now I'm beginning to think there may be some disaster. Well, I mean, not disaster, but like entanglement going on here, involving the fact that people keep moving things around that they want to put in tombs and not actually doing any work. Maybe we should forbid all of the objects that they're doing this with, because they may just be going round in circles. I'm going to start forbidding items that look like they're being used for unhelpful jobs. If I can locate the items. Suppose I can go to the unit. If they're carrying the item in question, if they're not, then I can forbid it. Slightly worried that there seem to be items hanging in empty space there. Alright, yes, no, they're not. They haven't been cut away properly yet. Yeah, go on. Still, our elven miner is learning how to mine, which is nice. And then remove up ramps. Yeah, it turns out things aren't mostly hanging in empty space. They were just confusing me. And they're not hanging in empty space. They're attached to various nearby objects. So that again appears to be a place item in tomb, and the item immediately falls out of the tomb. Let's forbid a couple more things. aim here is to watch people who are trying to place items in tombs and then forbid the item that they're trying to place, indeed, since you already have it. Damn it, where's it gone? Yes, you could indeed make a fortress that that was hanging in empty space and supported only by a tiny bridge, and then you could remove the bridge and your entire fortress would collapse all at once. I think this appears somewhere in the... is that a tree? No, it's just a small quantity of branches. Forbid that. Yes, for the most part the game does keep track of whether things are actually supported by anything at all, and when they aren't, they collapse in exciting fashions. Why are people leaving musical instruments in the rubbish dump? Well, in the zombie storage. Oh, that final piece of magma has evaporated at last. Right. Now, where on earth are our... Okay, much more people storing items in tombs. What are you storing? Can't work out where the centre of the screen is now. That's nice. Someone go and deal with that naked mole dog. That looks like the kind of body part that will cause us trouble. No, don't dump. Forbid. I have this feeling that a lot of our people are placing items in tombs that don't need to be placed in tombs or won't stay in tombs. If I can work out what items they're trying to put in the tombs, then I can stop them. Well, yes, well, once we've got the new rubbish dump made, the one that's full of magma, and we'll just incinerate anything you throw in it, this should be less of a problem, because we can just, like, say, no, just incinerate that, please, I think, and it will get incinerated rather than being carefully entombed. We do still have our... Alright, there's the objects in question. Forbid that. So we still don't seem to have anyone doing our mechanics for us, so let's just find... Oh, here's someone putting an item in a tomb. Oh, it's that duck corpse, yes, right. No, I meant... Oh, don't do anything with the duck corpse. Leave it where it is. We will incinerate it later. P.S. Where the hell are the miners? I mean, I assume that's still a usable slope. Yes. Okay, no, it's not accessible anymore because there's too much water in the hole. Stoats. So the miners can't get in there now because they've been so slow about it that it's flooded. So now they're going to have to do it from above instead. Hey, what are you putting in a tomb? So I hope once these are mined out, there will be little enough water in there that we can start building walls again. Meanwhile, I think I should pick someone else to assign to mechanics. Apparently we don't have enough people doing that. Incidentally, on general principles, there should be a door there. Right, so I hope now there's just about enough space and shallow enough water. Damn it. We're going to have to make this hole bigger just so that we can because of our mining problem. We have to make the hole bigger so that we've got enough space for the water to spread out far enough so that we can wall it in. So the small holes down here are pits containing magma that power several of our systems. Our forge and such like. Forge and glass furnace and things. So that, yes, we don't have to burn wood in order to keep those going. And I'm trying to set up... Did I install those in the right place? I think I didn't because I wasn't paying attention. And I'm trying to set things up so that we have a couple more pits, one of which will fuel a magma kiln and one of which will be used for rubbish disposal. I don't think we should be slower than the water. It's just that I needed to spread it out shallow enough that we can build walls in it again. So I think we won't have a problem soon. Our problem was that we were losing that miners kept getting distracted, probably by putting pets in tombs repeatedly again and again and again and again, because they didn't believe that they were properly entombed when they were. See, properly walled off now. Now let's just put a floor over the hole that we dug out that we didn't want to have to dig out. And then we can also start building track stops for the filling system. So that one wants to spit things out east. That one wants to spit things... Oh no. split things out south. In one case magma, in the other case minecarts containing magma. Yes. We now have phenomenal amounts of stuff that want engineers. So let's... Is anyone actually doing any engineering yet? Oh yes, excellent, good. Let's assign someone else to engineering. See if we can actually get stuff done around here. It's like we'd got 4 track stops and a bunch of pressure plates to install. Aha, that's 1 pressure plate installed, I think. At some point it will stop being activated by things running past it, I hope. Yes, right, good. So that means we can now connect that pressure plate to a hatch, namely that. No, not that hatch. That hatch, the new hatch. In the target, let's install granite, because granite's cheap. And we'll put pretty limestone in the upper thing. Right, so those most of the track stops are now installed. In particular, we now have several of them. We now have the 2 down here and the one up there. So this can be a minecart. Thing which takes iron and steel minecarts, which has 1 wheelbarrow assigned to it and which takes from stock of filled minecarts. And it is stockpile number 44. Stockpile number 44 has a steel wheelbarrow assigned to it. Then we can set up a hauling route, which is new route name which has a new stop here, and at that stop we do not do anything, but we set up a stockpile link from there which takes minecarts and only iron and steel minecarts. Immediately dumps them south. Yes, right. then we can set up another hauling route, which will be called, and we're going to need another minecart. Admittedly, we have wood these days. We could make the minecart out of something. That's not the right place. Make the minecart out of wood rather than lead, but it's kind of become a tradition. And it never has to move. And I've forgotten where minecarts are. There they are. Because what I also need to do is to assign to that an unused lead minecart. Apparently, what? How is that minecart full of 32% full of stuff? Well, we'll find out. Hauling routes. New route. No. New route. Name minecarts at kiln. It should have one stop, which should be there, which should be configured to have a stockpile link to there and to take just minecarts in iron and steel. Shouldn't be possible for it to be 32% full of magma because it's made of lead. Like, it would melt if you did that. So, I don't know what it's 32% full of. We could find out, I suppose. Okay, it's full of minecarts. Where is this? Is it, no. Why is it full of... Oh! Oh, it's that one, yes. It's that one there. In that case, actually, I should assign that one to the route that's right next to it. Because that way it won't have to be dragged quite so far. That is probably where all my minecarts currently are. Yes, they're currently in a minecart. This process will get them out of the minecart. And that will probably help. Slightly. No, where are you taking that minecart? Bring it back. I've assigned that minecart to a different job. Oh. I decided I didn't want it taken all the way across the map to the other thing. I don't think they're stealing my minecarts. I think they're merely putting the minecarts in the wrong place. Which is like a common problem. Right, we've got another pressure plate in place, so we can now link that up to the glass floor hatch. And we can build another pressure plate there. Oh, is there still a building there? Oh, that's a door, isn't it? Yes, that's the door which someone's jammed open, right. Oops, no. And then we should actually remove the old a usable slope at the moment. It is, yes. We should remove the old floor hatch. And indeed the old pressure plates. Well, the minecart that's being taken to the wrong place is almost there. It is midnight, which is my usual you should have stopped half an hour ago moment. I'm kind of in a yes, but there's so much state that's currently in my head.
You could say it, and then it's on the recording.
Yeah, then I'll forget about it anyway. Right, so now all the steel mine carts have been deposited here empty. And now that minecart is being hauled back to the other job again. Right, well, at least it's empty now. It's a bit faster. Also, we've probably got another spare lead minecart by now, so I can have minecarts at new dump also have a vehicle assigned to it, which will be the new lead minecart. Right. So that's now, those are now reasonably sane once that minecart's been moved back. That's all in a reasonable position. Oh, there's the glass floor hatch operating. As people walk over the pressure plates upstairs, so that's good. The third pressure plate has now been installed, so let's set up that link, because that will be helpful. Good nighty, good night Amble. Right, because that then... it's our cheapest mechanism. And then our fanciest mechanism. So yes, this is getting there. And now that I think there's now not very much that's terribly confusing, because oh look, the job to collect sand worked correctly. Someone has collected some more sand, because we can see that because there is a bag of sand in the sand pit. Hurrah! Some of the things I've set up work. I should forbid that leather which has somehow ended up in that. What? Oh right, yes. Which has ended up in this hole because it fell down the pit and then got washed sideways, and it will probably never be seen again. So like now I think empty minecarts will get hauled downstairs, and that will all be obvious. Yes, it's a special leather oubliette. And all of those links for the pressure plates will be set up in an obvious fashion, and I should install a cage trap down here. Because that square can now have a cage trap. And so that will all operate correctly. I do still have some really ludicrous plans for this zombie pit. Which is really not an oubliette, because people are actually meant to remember what's down there and shoot them with arrows. Well, crossbow bolts. But yes, I think now I've got everything into a state where I might actually be able to remember what's going on. And someone is unhappy. Why are you unhappy? We've got perfectly good temples. Stop complaining. I'm going to have to build more temples or something. Badly distracted after being unable to wander. I mean, I think everyone is currently allowed on the surface if they want to be. Yeah, look, there's someone going through the door. I think you're allowed to wander. You just perhaps didn't want to. I mean, maybe, okay, if you're going to be feeling that unhappy, you're placing an item in a tomb. Let me find the item you're placing in a tomb. Maybe. I think actually what I want you to do, if you're fed up at not being able to wander, maybe I assign you hunting as a task. Like, you'll probably get killed doing it, but you'll be happier. How are you going anyway? You're very slow too, probably because you're badly injured. Oh. You're very scarred. You have lost the ability to stand. You only appear to be... Oh, okay, yes, both of your knees are damaged and your lower spine's damaged. Yeah, you're not going to be probably never going to walk again, even if we give you crutches. So what do you... I'm going to go... I appreciate I don't usually allow people to go hunting, but I'm going to allow you to go hunting because that might get you out of the house. Well, fortress. Right. And there's probably another object around here that wants forbidding, isn't there? Yeah, that one. And that one. Right, that should possibly cause you to go somewhere else. No, you still think there's something around there you want to deal with, isn't there? Or maybe you realised it was forbidden by the time you got there. Okay, right, now maybe... you're going to pick up some equipment, you might go hunting. Right, that's enough for tonight. We have possibly helped our terribly stressed person by sending them out hunting. So, good night everyone. We will be back in Nosetools on Friday. Please either do or do not like and subscribe as you see fit.